everybody doing? 2023 is around the corner, and I'm absolutely not ready for it at all. I am still very much on Halloween mode. I'm literally drinking apple cider because I'm a monster. I do have my Christmas tree up, so that is a perk. And I have it on the bright color setting because I'm just fancy like that. But it's just sort of crazy to think that 2022 has come and gone so quickly. I guess sort of instead of like trying to like make solid resolutions like, oh, I want to read X amount of books, or I want to read only this one type of genre or whatnot, I want to definitely knock some books off my list for next year, or books that I want to reread, either for just personal enjoyment or for book writing research. So what I've kind of compiled together are at least 10 books so far that I want to say that I was able to read for 2023. So I have 5 physical books on me that I already own, and then there's 5 other books that I don't have quite yet, or I'm waiting to get them. So instead of trying to fight the algorithm of my computer system, I have decided to play a little bit of arts and crafts and to create these little cutouts of what books I want to get for next year. So, we're smart. It's fine, guys. I promise I am not bored in my free time. Some of these books I've already talked about in some of my previous videos. Like, for instance, I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. That's a book I want to get into for 2023. I've talked about it in my Halloween TBR video, and I believe I've also talked about it in my vlog where I've gone to redo my TBR jar. And this just keeps sitting on my shelf and taunting me. I don't know if I want to do the physical book quite yet, or if I want to do an audiobook version of this. I might have a little bit more better chances of reading it if I could find a really good audiobook version of this. So if anyone has any recommendations of where I could find a good audiobook version of Jane Eyre, please hit me up in the comments, or just say, no, you're better off reading the physical thing because it's just better to hear your own voices do it. So I definitely want to hear y'all's thoughts on what I should do about Jane Eyre, because I need to get this book read already. So another one that I have brought up in the past is King Lear. This was also on the TBR jar redo video. So like I explained, I got inspired to read this by If We Were Villains. And while I didn't particularly care for If We Were Villains, I did get inspiration to read King Lear. And this is actually one of the Shakespearean tragedies that I have not read yet. So I definitely want to dive into this. And I actually am inspired to write a sort of a horror / mystery thriller noir based on some elements of King Lear that probably follows the youngest daughter, Cordelia, and sort of deal with like, okay, like, should she really trust her father, and what's going on here, and all this stuff. So I'm still kind of planning out that, but I want to read King Lear for some inspiration and see where the title of If We Were Villains came from. So another book that I want to have tackled for 2023 is actually a reread. So I want to get back into And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie for some book writing inspiration. So I actually read this one probably about 2 or 3 years ago, I believe during the pandemic when it first started, and I don't necessarily remember being super into it, but I am starting to work out a horror murder mystery novel, and I want to use elements inspired by this book, so that's the reason I want to reread this. And then speaking of horrors, this, I keep meaning to reread it because I just love Carrie so much, and this was the first Stephen King novel that I actually read and finished. And this was also the book that got me super into reading in the first place. I read this in 3 days and I absolutely loved it. I love the movies, I love the musical, and it's just one of my favorite stories of all time. So I definitely want to reread it. Not only just for the sake of the writing style because I love it, but also more like I want to do it for research purposes to see like, okay, why does the epistolary style of writing work for this, and how does that intermingle with the actual narrative prose itself. So this is also a research purpose for rereading this, but also just because I love it that much. So that might actually be one of the books that I read first, or I might just read it before the end of the year, who knows, but we'll find out. The last physical book that I have on me that I want to read for next year is We Are Watching Eliza Bright, which I brought up in my most recent book haul video. So I've already read the 3 that I've gotten from Barnes & Noble back in November, and this is sort of the last one that I need to tackle. It might take me a couple days or maybe a week or 2 to get through, but I'm very excited. I saw this on Goodreads and it's just been glaring at me in the face since I've bought it, so I want to get it read and have it done. So those are the physical books that I currently own right now that are definitely the priorities of next year, and then the next handful are ones that I'm hoping that I'm either going to get for Christmas or I'll probably buy at some point when 2023 comes around the corner. I have the first one of my little cutouts is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This is the last book of the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I started reading that this year and I have fallen head over heels in love with this book series. I know it's YA, I know it's very high school oriented, but I love the mystery element of it. I love the dynamics of the characters and the complexities of the main character Pip as she goes to investigate these mysteries in her hometown, and I just adore the series. It shattered my heart in so many ways, and I need to finish the series, so I've asked for the last book for Christmas this year, and hopefully I can get it in time to sort of maybe either read for the end of the year or to start it for 2023. And then another one that I need to jump on the train for and not get FOMO from is the Gabrielle Servine powerhouse Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This I've been eyeballing for probably since the summer. I read The Storied Life of AJ Fikry by her back last year, and I love that book so much. And when I heard that she was coming out with this story, I was very intrigued. And funny enough, the story that I'm trying to plan out right now does involve around video games. So the fact that this story has an element of video gaming culture and pop culture references, I'm sort of intrigued to see how that's going to play out into the story, whether or not it's going to be a romance or just a general literary fiction novel. So I'm really looking forward to adding this onto my pile soon. Alright, and then the next one I've talked about before. I keep putting it off because I don't want any of the internet spies to come after me and be like, why is this girl reading a book about cannibals? So this is A Certain Hunger. I brought this up in my Halloween TBR. This was recommended by the Book Leo Leonie on YouTube. So I've been wanting to read this book for so long and still have not gotten it yet. So this might be one that I might not necessarily ask my family for Christmas. So this may be one I have to order online. It's fine, guys. Well, the one I did ask for that's a little bit more appetizing in the horror genre is Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle. So I have read The Lottery, and The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I've not watched the Netflix series for Haunting of Hill House. I need to watch that, but this is one of those books that gets so hyped up on BookTube, at least from the BookTubers that I've seen. And also this is supposed to be very dark cottagecore-ish vibes. So I am very excited to read this. I asked for this for Christmas just because I want to read another Shirley Jackson novel. Like I said, this book is very hyped up, so I'm hoping that I could probably get to it at some point in the spring, or at least like early 2023, just to see what the hype is all about. And then the last book that I'm hoping to get for 2023, at least get it knocked off, so that way I don't experience any more booktuber book talk FOMO. Taylor Jenkins Reid herself, Malibu Rising. This one, I believe, is somehow connected to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I think this is supposed to be following the family of one of her ex-husbands. I'm looking forward to seeing how this kind of connects to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And also, this is supposed to connect to her most recent book, Carrie Soto is Back. I think I've been putting it off just because I'm scared that it's not going to live up to its hype. But I've just decided, you know what, screw it, we're going to read the book. So we're going to get to that in 2023. Might be the first book I read of the year, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, that's it. That's at least the first 10 books that I want to get to for 2023. So thank you for watching, and hopefully this gave you some inspiration for the new year, and I will see you next time.